How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and it looks like the big three have been nerfed. We're talking Jacqui, Briggs, Johnny Cage, and even Garrus, the three characters that we saw the most at Final Kombat. Now with that said, some characters were nerfed more than others, so without any further ado, let's get started. So let's begin with Jacqui Briggs. Now Jacqui got two major changes. The first one has to do with her bionic bounce. So now if you want to do the close version, or the far version, that's going to cost you 1 bar of defensive meter. So if you're a Jacqui player and you're pressuring the opponent and you want to stay close, that's going to cost you a bar. If you're really far away and the opponent's playing keep away, you want to close that gap, that's also going to cost you 1 defensive bar. So that means two important things right away. Number one, you can't do this more than twice, you're going to be out of defensive bar. So if you want to stay close or close that gap, you can't do it more than twice back to back. And then on top of that, if you're fighting the Jacqui player and they do spend a bar that way, once you combo them, they can't break away. They have to hold all that damage. However, do keep in mind the meter does fill a bit faster than it normally does. So as you can see, that defensive bar is filling up pretty quickly. But even so, the Jacqui player can't do those two jumps back to back, and at the very least, they do lose their option to break away. So what this essentially means is the Jacqui player has a bit of a tougher time running away on block, and they also have a tougher time closing the gap, so certain keep away characters are now going to be even stronger against upgraded Jacqui. However, in saying that, the Jacqui player still has crazy offensive pressure on block. You can still super jump, you can still do the instant air shrapnel, you can even do 2 instant air shrapnels in a row. So all that crazy pressure is still there, she just has a tougher time closing the gap now. And then the second big change for Jacqui was actually a bug fix. So before, Jacqui could actually do a deep jump in, so a jump in pretty darn late and then cancel into air shrapnel at the last possible second, and this would leave her ridiculously plus on block. We're talking plus 20, and I'm not exaggerating. She was absurdly plus, and Jacqui is already a very fast character, so that was obviously very strong. However, thankfully that's no longer possible. If you do cancel really late, you're still only plus 6 or plus 7, which isn't anything different. That's already what it is like on block. In fact, you're actually less positive on block now than you would be with a normal jump in. So that's a very good change. I don't think she was ever meant to be that plus. Even though it was somewhat tough to do, it certainly was not fair to be that plus on block, and now it's no longer possible. So in summary, Jacqui is still a crazy pressure monster. That honestly hasn't changed, but now if you want to play a keep away character to counter pick her, she has a much tougher time going in, because if she wants to do the far version, that's going to cost a bar. If she wants to stick to you like glue, that's going to cost a bar of defense as well, and once she does either of those, you can hit her, and once you do, she has no way of escaping the damage. I'm honestly not sure if this is what the Jacqui haters wanted. I actually do kind of like this variation. I think it's fun to watch and also pretty fun to play, but I also admit the variation was way too strong, especially because of the air shrapnel. That mix-up was just ridiculous, and that's still there. The meta has not gone. So I feel like all the crazy pressure stuff that people hated hasn't really gone anywhere, but if you do want to outzone her and play crazy keep away, Jacqui has a tougher time getting in now. At the very least, it does cost her meter, and once again, a very, very powerful bug has been fixed, and she is no longer crazy plus on jump-ins. That was very broken, and it's gone now. So please let me know your thoughts on these Jacqui nerfs in the comment section down below. Do you like them, or do you wish she was nerfed a bit more? Once again, I do somewhat enjoy this variation, but please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And next up, we have Johnny Cage. Once again, two very big nerfs, and both of them to his Rising Star special move. So these nerfs only affect his third variation, but even so, they're pretty big changes because that was his most popular variation online and at tournaments. Now, alright, so for starters, you can no longer amplify this move if the opponent flawless blocks the first hit. So let's go ahead and tell the AI to do that. And as you can see, no matter how much I press that button, I cannot amplify this move on block if the opponent does a flawless block. Now that's not going to be the easiest thing to do, but at the high level for tournaments, that's a pretty big deal. You no longer have the option to keep yourself safe if the opponent flawless blocks this move, and it's very, very punishable. And then we have the next change, which I think is honestly much crazier. So if you do amplify this move to keep yourself safe and somewhat reset the neutral, it costs 1 defensive and 1 offensive bar. So look at that. You lose access to breakaway, and you only have 1 more amplified special move left. That is pretty crazy if you ask me. Honestly, part of me thinks this change might be a little bit overboard. I think just adding a flawless block gap on the second hit would have been pretty nice, but I guess they didn't want it to be too much like Cassie Cage, So now if you do want to spin that bar to keep yourself safe and reset the neutral, you lose access to a lot of resources, no breakaway, and only one more special move can be amplified. Now thankfully Johnny Cage does have some really nice hit confirms like right here, or even this one, right? You have a lot of time to see if they actually land or if they're blocked before you commit to any special moves. But even so, this special move is now much worse, especially on block, than it used to be. It is a shadow of its former self. Now he still has crazy projectiles and zoning in this variation, and he still does have the option to keep himself safe and reset the neutral in a lot of situations, but man, that's still pretty crazy. It honestly does feel like Jacqui got off easy compared to Johnny Cage, because this special move has been nerfed quite a lot. So in summary, if you main Johnny Cage and you want to use this variation, you still can, but just make sure to get a lot better with those hit confirms, because if you overcommit and have to save yourself by amplifying, you've lost access to a lot of meter. Once again, please let me know your thoughts on these nerfs in the comment section down below. Do you think they're a bit too crazy, or does it feel fair because Johnny Cage was just that good? Please let me know down below. And then last but not least, we have Garrus. Once again, 2 nerfs, but they don't seem that crazy, at least at first glance, but let's go ahead and have a look. So for starters, his forward dash and back dash don't cover as much distance. And look at that backdash. It is not the threat it used to be, but still pretty darn good. I think this change is because at Final Combat, a lot of Garrus mains would just backdash to escape any neutral with certain characters, especially more aggressive characters like upgraded Jacqui. And now that strategy is not going to be as effective because Garrus just doesn't cover as much ground. Now as far as his forward dash, I don't notice a huge difference, but I also didn't play Garrus very much, and I've never mastered the art of dash canceling in this game, so not a huge deal for me because I don't play Garrus that much, and even when I did, I was trying to be in the opponent's face because I loved this 50-50, and I loved his hit confirms into the choke, all that good stuff. But the point is, his mobility is now restricted a bit more than it was before. And then for the next change, his sand trap now takes 4 more frames to recover on whiff. So if you miss this thing, look how long it takes Garrus to block. I know a lot of people in the comment section, you hate this move because it does pretty much lock you down and stop you from moving forward and backwards normally. I certainly agree. I think an instant low is a bit too strong in this game, but the good news is if Garrus misses, you have a lot of time to dash in and close that gap and get the punish on it. And it was already pretty bad on block with certain characters like Jade and Sub-Zero having the ability to punish him on block from pretty far away. And now on top of that, it's also even worse on whiff as well. And keep in mind this does apply to both quicksand and the sand trap. Both moves in different variations are now slower to recover on miss. And what makes this nerf even more of a big deal is Garrus actually has to miss this twice in a row for a crushing blow. And now every time he misses this move intentionally trying to get that crushing blow, he leaves himself more exposed, so it's a bit more of a risk. Now I feel like out of all the characters, Garrus got touched the least, but even so, it's a pretty big change for the mobility. He's not going to be able to run away quite as much anymore, and now the sand trap, it's still a really good move for checking the opponent, and it's great for punishing things from very far away, and it beats a lot of projectiles. But even so, if the opponent jumps, you're left open for a lot longer, and then if you just miss, you're also left open for a lot longer as well, so it's not as good in the neutral. I feel like out of all 3 characters, Garrus got it the easiest because he's already been nerfed quite a lot, but the developers still seem to think that he's a bit too good at running away, and sand trap is a bit too strong in the neutral, and I do agree. But once again, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think Garrus deserves more nerfs, or do you think it's okay and the developers should leave him alone at this point? And alright everyone, and that's about it for the video. Once again, these 3 characters were the most prominent at Final Combat, and they're honestly just popular in competitive play in general, and they've all been nerfed. And for certain characters like Jacqui, I feel like the nerfs could have been in different areas. I think she deserved to be nerfed, but I don't think she was nerfed in the way that a lot of players wanted, but we'll have to wait and see. Because for characters like Johnny Cage, I think the nerfs might have been a bit too much or a bit too excessive for one move in general. I think they could have nerfed all of his moves a little bit instead of just nerfing that one into the ground. And then for Garrus, I'm gonna be honest, I think the mobility choice was a good call because I saw tons of players just backdashing over and over again. and the sand trap one is also good as well, but at the same time, as far as Combat League and typical online play goes, I don't think Geras is that much of a problem anymore, but for competitive play, I do like these changes. So thank you so much for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below, it really does help my channel out a ton. And then why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell, that way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.